all of our anchors on stage were well prepared. We've been briefed, we've done our research. But unfortunately, I'm a little foggy in the brain right now, and I'm not sure about the introduction for this tech session that you all have all been awaiting. So what I will do is take a little help from ChatGPT. How many of you guys have used some sort of AI before? Put your hands up. ChatGPT? Okay. There's enough of them. A quick prompt saying, I have a really cool guest for a very cool session. So let's go with this, and then you know how all of us anchors are prepared. Ladies and gentlemen, as the digital age accelerates, one technology stands out, reshaping our world at an unprecedented pace. Of course, it is artificial intelligence. It's no longer science fiction. It's here, it's now, and it's transforming everything we know about the way we live. To guide us through this exciting frontier, we have a true visionary, a leader who's not just witnessing this revolution, but actively shaping it. I have with me Saurabh Sahu from Accenture. Huge round of applause, please. So the good news, and there's bad news as well. So the good news is that the crowds use ChatGPT. So maybe they'll have a rough understanding what we're doing. The bad news is that they've not used the other LLMs. No, I'm just joking with you. But we're going to try to make this fun, try to make this interactive. Most importantly, we don't want to geek out too much. We want to ensure that if there's any themes that touch upon your lives from the world of technology, we know technology is disrupting every sector, every life. But let's take that cue from our introduction, Saurabh. You're an AI expert, and it's an absolute honor to have you here at the India Today Conclave. But when you talk about AI, is it something in terms of generative AI, ChatGPT, me doing that on stage, was that a gimmick? Or can that actually be a game changer? Because so many people are talking about Google Gemini, ChatGPT, Meta AI. Let's start there.
What do you guys think? Is AI a gimmick or a game changer? Game changer? Okay, one for game changer. How many for gimmicks? Nobody for gimmicks? Anyone for gimmicks? Okay, one hand for gimmicks, ma'am. You think it's a gimmick? Okay, anyone else for gimmicks?
There you go.
No one else? Okay, fair enough. So, great question. Do you want the popular answer or the right answer? The right answer? I'm an AI expert. What do you think will be the right answer? I'm a so-called AI expert. Game changer, of course. So, let me put it this way. It has, I think, traveled a good journey from being perceived as gimmick to being now established as a game changer. In the summary, right? If I just go 2-3 layers down, look at the different kinds of revolutions we have experienced in our lives, right? We have had calculators, computers, internet, mobile phones. All of these at some point in time were perceived as gimmicks. But we now continue to live them through our lives because the difference between a gimmick or a game changer is simple. Does it affect your life in a manner which makes it better and faster? If there is something which makes your lives better and faster, it is here to stay. The fundamentals of AI and emergent technologies on AI, like Gen AI especially, are based on strong fundamentals. They are made to make our lives easier, faster, convenient, and add to human intelligence and productivity. And therefore, simply put, therefore, I'm hoping it'll traverse the journey and be a good game changer.
You know what's interesting is with that one prompt, I would have taken at least a couple of hours, maybe more, to really research the illustrious career of Saurabh Sahu at Accenture and beyond. But for me, generative AI has done that in 10 seconds. Now, the problem there is how foolproof is it, Saurabh? And most importantly, how credible is that information that we get from these prompts? Because that's a concern we have when everyone starts using it.
Yeah. So let's put it this way. Those of you who have used ChatGPT, may I know for what purposes have you used it? Quick round. Writing content? Okay, writing content. What else? Sorry?
Image generation.
Image generation. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So,
carving a legal notice.
Wow.
Well, I mean, definitely I wouldn't want to be a recipient of that. But having said that, all of us travel, right? And now Indians travel a lot. The latest report essentially says we are the most traveled country in the world in terms of the economy that we are adding in terms of travel is huge. How many of you made a travel itinerary on ChatGPT? Yeah? It's one of the most easy applications of using ChatGPT, right? Now, very easy, very popular. You just say 10-day itinerary to visit Australia, throw in some wildlife, throw in a cricket match, throw in some kids' activities, and then ChatGPT will give you a very nicely done itinerary, which you can take it to a Make My Trip or a, Thomas Cook and easily say, give me the price of this. Right? Broadly, this is what, you can put it together up. Now, very recently, I'm planning a trip to Australia in December. I'm a huge cricket fanatic, so I wanted to watch the Boxing Day Test match, which starts on 26th of December. When I asked ChatGPT for an itinerary for Melbourne for 4 or 5 days, including a test match, it did throw up an inaccurate answer by saying that the test match starts from 24th of December. Now, people who know cricket and who know Melbourne and who know December Boxing Day Test, it starts on 26th of December, right? ChatGPT has now corrected it. But at that point in time, it was throwing up a result which was an inaccurate result, despite the volume of information we had, right? So at the end of the day, and I think Navya said it very well, when she was asked, what is the, what makes a good podcast? She said, voice with opinion. The day opinions can be automated, probably we may not need humans, right? But till the time opinions are there, verification of facts is there, we will need to have the right combination of humans with Gen AI or technology, and to that extent, therefore, it's important to differentiate between what is right, what is fact, and what is fiction. What is an opinion, what is a fact, and what is bias?
Okay, so I'm going to play devil's advocate over there, just to keep this more interesting. All the top tech titans of the world, whether superheroes or supervillains, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Mark Zuckerberg, with yesterday's announcement at MetaConnect, are all talking about, at some point, the pros and cons of achieving something called AGI. AGI is artificial general intelligence. The comic books would have you believe that that's the most dangerous Armageddon-like scenario. I don't want to downplay it, I don't want to overstate it. But if AGI is achieved, AGI in a simple sentence, if you could explain, is largely if AI actually becomes as smart as a human, right? For everyone to understand. Then do opinions get automated? Then is there a concern that AI takes over?
Well, no. Simply because no matter... So ultimately, let's understand this. The simple difference between a machine and a human. Machines have to operate on data, on certain base. Humans can operate on emotions, feelings, data, intelligence, various other factors. It will be very unlikely to model anything in terms of opinion and emotions on for a machine platform. So artificial general intelligence, AGI, essentially wants to mimic human behavior or human reactions. Right? So if if I tell a robot, you're looking great today, then what kind of an response do you expect from the robot, right? Saying to, thank you for the compliment, or you are being too nice, or whatever it is, right? So when you try to mimic human emotion is where we are trying to get to. But even at that stage, I don't think it'll ever be able to replicate the soul of a human being, and I'm hoping it doesn't happen.
Fair enough. So emotional intelligence for now trumps artificial intelligence, at least in that aspect. Yeah. Let's focus on India, because we saw the dot-com boom. You've seen so many tech disruptions happening, so much of Indian talent around the world that's doing some great things, top CEOs, top founders. But then there's a concern every time we travel to any top tech company or campus, when I speak to the people, being that India could miss the bus possibly and become a back office, an outsourcing venue for artificial intelligence. If the world is looking at AI to achieve global leadership, will the USA, will China leave us behind, Saurabh? Is that a genuine concern amongst tech companies?
Well, see, I think sometimes what happens, when you do some things really, really well, that also becomes a bit of your disadvantage. We have done IT and tech so well as large supplies of talent that, we probably are now being seen as a large supplier of AI, but not a large consumer of AI, right? I think for India to occupy a leadership position in the world, we have to move from AI from India to AI for India. India has to become its own biggest consumer of AI, right? So simply put, the AI from India is coming because of the wealth of talent we have. We have a lot of skilled manpower. We have a lot of great talent. We have wonderful education institutions. The government is doing a lot of initiatives around skilling. I think we're getting to a stage where we will be a superpower in terms of talent and skills for AI. Will that translate into a leadership position in AI as a consumer of AI? Not necessarily, unless we are able to really capture that imagination of AI applications in our country. To give you a simple example, one of the biggest problems for our country is in terms of how can we make our agriculture sector much more productive and much more efficient. Now, if AI plus Gen AI can therefore look at crop rotation, precision maintenance, various other such areas which can make agriculture sector for us far more productive and efficient. Now, that is something where, as a large agricultural country, we will be a huge consumer of AI. Right? And the same thing goes, let's say, for healthcare, where let's say robotic surgery or Gen AI-led healthcare systems become far more prevalent. With a country, with probably being one of the most populous countries in the world, we will therefore become a huge consumer of AI. We need to therefore create solutions today we haven't thought through. Right? The best applications of AI are the ones we haven't dreamt of as yet. They're yet to come. And India needs to seize that.
Okay, you know, very popular prompt, and this has become, by the way, a job, prompt engineering. What I did in the introduction was basically prompt an AI chatbot to give me an answer. That output was my introduction, which sort of made my job obsolete. Now, the delivery of it is also being done within the India Today group. We have an AI anchor by the name of Sana and a bunch of other anchors who are doing a fantastic job at delivery. Preeti, I don't know what that means about our jobs as anchors. But that said, what's interesting is prompt engineering is becoming something as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who understand LLMs so well. So when this conversation comes about, where you talk about a lot of jobs being taken away, shouldn't there be a counter argument that a lot of jobs will be created?
Absolutely.
Especially in countries like India as well.
Absolutely, yes. Jobs will be created simply in terms of new applications that will come from AI, right? The new areas in which AI can be used. Typically, 60% of the jobs that we have today did not exist in 1940, right? So 65, 70 years back, there are a lot of jobs today which did not exist in 1940. They were through natural human progression. Those jobs have been created and therefore, people have been employed. Similar is the case for AI. It has to be a multiplier of human productivity. It is not a replacement for human productivity.
Now, how important is upskilling? When we're talking about, let's zoom out of AI. AI is one big aspect, but in tech, we're talking about make in India. We see companies like Apple now actually assembling their phones here. We're talking about the automotive sector. Yeah. We see Range Rovers being made in India. There's a lot of manufacturing that's been happening over the years, but now the world's flagship products are being put together in this country. That's a very proud moment for us.
Absolutely.
But if we want to take on some of these disruptive industries, how much is there a need to be a focus on upskilling, especially that demographic dividend that you're talking about?
See, at the end of the day, no matter how intelligent or great a machine is, it will need a strong human mind to operate it, to control it. At the end of the day, it's as simple as that. And therefore, if you're looking for AI to create so many jobs, so many new applications that we haven't thought through per se, I'll give you an example. I think one of my colleagues here was showing me, there is actually today an AI influencer. We have all heard of YouTube influencers, right? People who essentially influence public opinion with their opinions or their feedback. There are AI influencers which are today not real. They're not human beings. They're actually just AI avatars. They look absolutely like a normal human being. They behave and act and promote and give feedback exactly as per that. But there is a huge amount of human ingenuity that has gone in creating it. To the work of simple upskilling, I think it has to be a strong collaboration between government, private institutes, education institutes in general, and a large ecosystem that has to create that manpower. I think there is a very clear understanding that India is growing significantly, but still there are many jobs which are not fulfilled, simply because there is a mismatch between number of jobs being created and the kind of skills that we have. That gap is going to widen if you're not able to take the steps well in terms of upskilling our people there. To give you an example, even the upskilling, even training people on AI has now become automated. Right? So Accenture has a platform called LearnVantage. It's an AI native platform. The platform essentially understands your key gaps and capabilities very well. It puts in the right industry domain knowledge, and it creates a very curated, personalized course in terms of upskilling people. So even learning has become automated and AI generated now, which therefore we need to take advantage of.
It's fascinating. We were reporting from San Francisco a couple of weeks ago, and everyone talks about that being the tech capital of the world. There were driverless cabs, driverless cars, Teslas running on full self-drive. And some of the owners and operators of these services, and even the owners of these cars, came to me and said that the locals out there, no matter how much they've been at the heart and in the hub of technology, aren't very happy with this automation. So much so that they do things which you think would not happen in that part of the world, like scratch the car while it's passing, wear a stop sign as a t-shirt so that you confuse the algorithm. People around the world are not very happy when it comes to interacting with technology. AI, machine learning, it's very cool when you show it on the newest smartphone, but when it's actually there in traditional tasks, people are very reluctant. How do we overcome these hurdles? Because it's going to happen in India very soon.
A lot of education has to happen in terms of making people understand how to interact with technology, right? So when calculators got invented, there were professors and maths teachers up in arms saying that this is going to take away jobs. It is not the right way to do it. Calculators should be banned. And now we know how to coexist with calculators. The same thing happened with computers. The same thing happened with the internet in some forums or the other, right? My father is sitting in the audience today, and he's 71, right? And I have now seen him use technology over the years, right? And there is a lot of understanding in terms of what is right and what is not, and therefore adaptation to technology to understand what are the pros and cons. The same example that you gave. If people in San Francisco were very clearly communicated about essentially what are the pros and cons of this, how it can essentially aid public transportation, take away certain amount of traffic out from, or pressure from the various forms of transportation. In addition to, probably create more jobs in certain scenario, I think the acceptance will, will come very, very clearly. At the end of the day, acknowledgement and acceptance of technology progress is the first step towards adopting it. After acceptance comes adoption. For acceptance, right understanding is required.
As a millennial and someone who's embraced technology from day one, what I find fascinating now covering technology, Saurabh, is that you'd imagine that the future of technology, the future of the world would be democratic, would be interoperable. But when you see what these tech companies are doing, you see everyone building a more closed ecosystem. You see a company now, Apple is building its own chipsets, Google is building its own chipsets. There's a change out there. Web3 has not picked up the way it had to, perhaps. So how do we ensure that the future of the world in technology is more democratic, it's more inclusive, and it's something that benefits all of us?
That is where governments, sovereign governments across the world, and especially large country governments, including India, have to take proactive steps. Look at India as a country today. We have some of the most advanced payment systems in the world. Most of us use UPI, right? How many of us now don't carry our wallets anymore when you go out for simple shopping? You pay through UPI, right? You don't even have to carry a credit card. You don't have to carry your wallet. How many countries can claim to do that? Right? We were a country which hardly 40, 50 years back was significantly below poverty line. It has taken us thus 30, 40 years to essentially clear the largest, advanced payment systems in the world. Which country can claim to do that? Right? There were about 5, 6 countries which attained independence at the same time as us. How many of them can claim to essentially be as advanced digitally as we are today? So sovereign governments have to take, right, very clearly an initiative in this format, because that is when, you cannot blame private companies. A lot of the progress in the world has also been ushered by private companies, right? So they will do what is obviously right for their business. They will do what is, what brings them the right revenue, etc. So the governments have to take the initiative here. Not sure how many of you understand or know about the India AI mission. So the government of India has launched an India AI mission. 10,000 crores of money is going to go into it. It is setting up one of the world's largest AI infrastructure in the world for consumption to drive in India. Right? So it is truly Atmanirbhar, which is coming to be self-reliant by making our own AI ecosystem in place. So that is how we'll democratize it. At the end of the day, countries like India, China, US, some countries in the Middle East which are very progressive, large democratic countries, will have to, or rather large, countries with high population in terms of digital literacy, will have to take the initiative in terms of creating this harmonious digital world.
But we'll also need governments around the world to really synergize and collaborate on this, to draft some sort of regulations. Otherwise, this can be completely out of hand, Saurabh.
Yeah. So I think we have India laying the policies and taking the initiative in this manner. The India AI mission, the Digital India, and the various aspects around it. My sense is, like how we have the UN, and I'm here putting a bit of the, I was told that don't make news today, but I'll try not to do that, but I'm trying.
We love a headline over here at the India Today Group.
I think the time has come to create a United Nations for AI Council. Right? I think if you have United Nations was born after the Second World War, right? Because of various geopolitical scenarios. It was created out of a need to arrest human ambitions in terms of wars. Now has also come a time where we are at a juncture where there could be wars on basis of technology. We're at a juncture where we need to arrest human ambition and potential in terms of the right usage of AI, be more responsible, use it for the benefit of the world. Maybe the time has come to create something similar in terms of a United Nations for AI, and that's where hopefully your question will get answered.
Saurabh, our time's almost up, but in the next 10 seconds, everyone talks about AI and the top 3 trends you're looking out for. If you could tell me 3 virtues, human virtues, we should hold on to in the next 20 years, 30 years, to make sure we're on the right side of this revolution. 3 human values.
Being ethical, being responsible, and being proactive, I think will be the 3 key things which will hopefully make it well. I think being ethical, as I said, very simple, has to be the right usage of technology. Responsibility is important, and proactive in terms of using this for the right applications. I think if these 3 fall in place together, AI would be known as Atmanirbhar India.
Fantastic. A huge round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, the man himself, Saurabh Sahu.
Thank you very much.